Good afternoon, good evening, good morning. Welcome to episode 30 of Rock the Cash Bar. You're probably on your way to your massage appointment or maybe your tanning salon. You possibly have a chance to sit in a sensory deprivation tank and think about everything that you've done. We thank you. How are you doing, Diane? I'm sorry, I'm just going to stop babbling.
Oh, I'm good. I'm thinking about how nice all those things would be.
It really would be nice to get out, especially the massage. The massage would be scary, though. Who knows where those masseuses have been? And
Yeah.
Can you imagine a massage with like rubber gloves, a rubber glove massage?
Ouchie.
No.
Well, with lots of lotion, maybe, but it's gonna find a way to pinch you in some way. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. The masseuse in the great big medical. Perfect. I got a call from my accountant the other day. I have an accountant.
Wow.
I know, it makes me feel super important. Now, I don't have the money of a guy who needs an accountant, but I do have the tax problems of a guy who needs an accountant. So I'm tending bar, and it's tax season last year, and I'm bitching because I'm behind, and I don't know how I'm going to be able to pay it. And a woman in the bar who's about probably in her mid 70s, she pipes up and she says, "Well, I'm an accountant." And she's got this really thick, like Brooklyn accent. So I talked to her for a little while, and I send her all of my stuff, and she takes care of my taxes. And she's great because she's just like, okay, it's perfect. I'm going to take care of these 3 years that you're in arrears. It's going to cost you $150 or 2 bottles of Crown Royal. Now, how do you want to pay this up?
Done and done.
I know, like, how about both? How about we do both? So she called me a couple of days ago, and I was worried because like something's gone wrong with my accounts. But no, she just wanted to talk. Like she's just been in quarantine for a while and just wanted to bend the bar. It was the nicest thing in the world. Like she's got the greatest stories, and then this, like, I don't do it justice, but just this great thick Brooklyn accent, and she just says like whatever comes into her head. She goes,
maybe we should have her on the podcast.
We really should. We really should. So I was telling her, like, I used to live in Los Angeles, and I would drive from LA to Houston and Houston to LA. And I would stop at these little small towns along the way. Like I stopped in like Tombstone, Arizona, and I stopped in Bisbee, Arizona. And she told me, she was like, "Yeah, I remember you telling me that you've been to Bisbee, Arizona. I'm going there next week. I'm thinking about moving there." So I tell you, like, so I said, "You're like, okay, here's a place that you need to stay." And she goes, "Oh, I've already booked my hotel. It costs me 66,000 American frequent flyer miles."
Whoa.
It's just the best favorite phrase. But she's like, the things that pop out of her mouth are incredible. Like she was like, "Did I ever tell you about the time I met John Wayne?" No, I think I'd remember. Exactly. It was 1963. I was 19 years old, and I was cute back then. And the men would play grab ass. They would. I didn't mind. I liked the attention. So I'm living in this little town in New Mexico, and they're shooting a movie. And I end up meeting this guy, Joe Douglas, Kirk's brother. He was a producer on the movie, not as good looking as Kirk, but he buys me a drink and he's making me laugh, and I love him. And he says, "Do you want to go back to the hotel?" I haven't always been 75, and I went back to the hotel with Joe Douglas. And as we're leaving the bar, John Wayne is in the movie. He comes striding in. As we're walking out, John Wayne turns to Joe Douglas and he says, "Have her back by midnight. She's the only game in town."
That's great.
So she calls me up and she like we'll talk for 20 or 30 minutes. And by the end of it, she's like, "I don't want to take up all of your time." And I was like, "I've got all the time in the world. I will listen to you all day long."
Hours and hours of that.
Tell me more about Joe Douglas. Okay.
That's awesome.
Episode 30.
Yes.
We made it to 30, to our dark birthday.
Yes.
This is going to be a fun one. I mean, they're all fun ones, but this one's going to be particularly fun for me. I'm excited about our guest. Yay! He's one of the funniest comedians I've ever had the pleasure of meeting. He's been on BET, Comedy Central. He's got a special out called, is it Where the Cornfields Grow?
Where the field corn grows.
Where the field corn grows. Also, I think probably his best title is He is My Former Landlord. Ladies and gentlemen, Greg Warren. Greg, are you there?
Hold on, I'm letting him in. Here he comes. Here he comes. Hello, Greg.
Hey, guys.
There he is.
How you doing?
How are you, Greg? I'm
Hey,
doing really
man.
well. Doing really well. Nice to see you. It's been too long.
I know it has, man. Thanks for having me on this. It's great.
Awesome.
Thank you very much for coming on. Where are you quarantined? Are you in St. Louis?
St. Louis, yeah, my place, yeah.
Have you been hunkered down there for several months now?
Yeah, I mean, I was for the first 4, maybe. I've gotten out and about here and there. Yeah, a little more recently. First 4 months, I mean, it was within
I imagine this has been really tough for you because you're a very, very road heavy comic, right? Like you're 40 weeks a year or something like that, huh?
Yeah, man. I mean, it's tough in that that's what I've been doing. I mean, luckily there's some other income sources that these days that don't make it as tough for me as a lot of other people. But yeah, I mean, that's what I did.
Your gigolo side job.
Man, I wish that were true. I would be a reverse gigolo. I would extort women.
You would not. Your lantern jaw, your Midwestern wholesomeness.
We were just talking about, like, we're so happy that we're covering this song with the nicest person we know.
Oh, that's kind of you. That's kind of you, man. Yeah, I'm so excited about this, man. I really like ELO. Yeah.
Yeah. Have we told the listeners which one we chose?
We haven't. Yeah, we're doing ELO, and the listeners chose Evil Woman. Yeah. Which is a much darker song once you get into the lyrics than I ever would have imagined.
It sounds so happy and upbeat.
I mean, the thing that really struck me is that 1976 was when this thing sort of, I think came out in 75, but it spent most of its time on the charts in 76. And it was, I think it was like finished like number 70 overall on the charts that year. About 20 slots up from that was a song called Devil Woman. So it was a really tough time for women, or they were just really not good people back then. Yeah, Evil Woman, Devil Woman.
I think what happened is after we got our rights to vote and all the sexual freedom of 1969, guys are just like, what's going on here? What's happening with these bitches?
That could be. Or, I mean, there was some just, James Taylor, actually, I think he toned it down a little bit. He had a song that charted that year, said, she's really mean. And I don't like
it sounds like a very James Taylor thing. Yeah. She's just mean to me. Sensitive James Taylor. Why are you so mean? Yeah. Carly Simon's poking him with the business end of her guitar.
Yeah, I got to ask, does Ben always wear the Fidel Castro hat on the podcast?
I do now.
I like it a lot, man.
I've got quarantine hair. Like, I've got my bald spot is huge now, and I can like feel it getting bigger, but I'm not going for a haircut. So I've just got this like massive, like, I look like one of the kids at the bar that I work at accused me of looking like Rick from Rick and Morty, and so I had to go home and watch the show.
That's not true.
And I was just like, oh damn it, you're absolutely 100% right.
I like it. No, I like the Fidel Castro hat, man. It's somewhere between the Fidel Castro hat and the Janet Jackson Rhythm Nation.
No. That's really funny.
I had the Fidel beard a couple of weeks ago.
Oh
too.
Man, why? Wait. You got a picture, you got to send it to me, because seriously, with that hat and a beard, man, and a cigar, you're a dead ringer.
That's awesome.
Let's nationalize some wealth, my people. The time I hear you talking about a revolution.
Yeah, let's talk about ELO dressed as Fidel Castro. That's awesome.
What brought you to ELO? I know it's kind of like a big open-ended question, but like, do you remember when you first heard of them, or were they just
man.
I mean,
I've thought about this a lot over the years, and it's for some reason, I was born in '68, and so like my music, I think a lot of times your music, and I confess this early on to both of you guys, like most people look at my the songs on my iPhone and just want to throw up, like I get made fun of a lot for my music, but the music of the '70s like really resonates with me. now the 80s, of course, is because that's when you're in high school and college. And I think that's sort of most people's, like, that's their theme song for their life type of stuff.
Right.
But you know, when you're in high school and college, you're like in the car, you're either driving or you're in the car with your friends. But in the 70s, like, I was in the car with my mom taking me all around. It's like this different, maybe it's more innocent. I mean, the 70s was certainly not an innocent time. It's in a lot of ways, but I mean, it's just like, I just have all these really, you know, nice memories of being in the car with my mom, going to wrestling practice or going to, you know, my clarinet lesson or going to, you know, wherever, just, you know, going all over. So that, all that 70s, you know, ELO, I think, really started hitting their stride in the sort of mid 70s. And so anything from the 70s, I just have this affinity to. And then,
see, I thought it might be because of your clarinet playing. Like, here's ELO coming in with, like, actually have woodwind instruments. Like, there's like
true,
little kid Greg Warren's like, there's a place for me in rock and roll.
Exactly, that is a great point, man. Especially for the string instruments, man. I mean, that is the one band where, like, they could go into the, you know, the orchestra and be like, hey, you know, I know you're good at the cello and you could be a rock star. You know? I hear some definitely violin in there, and then there's a viola. I maybe hear a viola in there. I don't know, but definitely cellos and violins. I was thinking about that. I was thinking like all these guys are getting together to, you know, to form ELO, and they're like probably like angsty kids and like, yeah, man, we gotta go form a band so we can play our own kind of music, like not this stupid orchestra stuff they make us play in high school band. And then there's one guy that's like, well, I like the orchestra stuff. I like it. You know, I like it. Maybe we could sort of do a mix. And,
do you consider ELO prog rock?
I should not answer that question. I'd love to hear what you guys think of that. Because
Corbin, my husband, loves ELO, loves them, and he considers them prog rock. But I was looking up other prog rock artists, and Jethro Tull, for instance, and Pink Floyd is considered. But
Yes is a big prog rock band, aren't they?
Yes,
and Rush is too, aren't they?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's how stupid I mean. It's going to sound like a horrible, punchy joke, but like I literally for a while thought prog rock was stuff that came from Czechoslovakia. I'm not exaggerating.
Shut up.
It is true. No. I'm the dumbest music person you guys have had on this podcast by a long shot.
No, we're the dumb ones. We never played an instrument. You have played instruments at least.
And I mean, I was first chair as a sophomore, which that stuff just doesn't happen, guys. It was all pretty much downhill. So Evil Woman came out 75, 76, which you guys are much younger than me, but I mean, like, that was 76. I was 8 years old. The bicentennial was a huge deal. Like, it was just like, it was for a year. It was this giant celebration. And I don't remember, here's what I remember about the bicentennial. There was a train that went across the country that had a bicentennial train, and we got out of school to go see the train come through St. Louis. I know that.
Okay.
And there was a lot of beer cans that had bicentennial themes on them. I remember that. I don't remember much else about it, but it was the bicentennial was a huge thing, man.
Wow. I think my earliest memory was Challenger explosion.
Yeah, that was a rough deal. Yeah, I was in high school during
that. It's a shame we're not going to make it to 250, but we had a good run. So,
we did.
Sorry, I didn't mean to bring everybody down. I didn't know what prog rock meant either. Like, when I first started reading Rolling Stone when I was 15 or 16, I would read prog rock, and I didn't. There's no Google. There's no way to look it up. I was just one of those things that I just had to skate over. Just like, I'll never know what that is. Like, in my head, I just figured that everything from the 70s was this thing called prog rock.
Wow, yeah, that's true. You can't really.
Yeah, it's hard to define. That's why I was like, is progressive rock meaning like it got a little more synth, or they started adding more instruments instead of just guitar, drums, bass? That's why I was like, is that why Jethro Tull is considered progressive rock? Because is it a flute, Greg? Is that what he's playing up there?
Yeah, they did. that was the only woodwind really opportunity back then until ELO came around.
Yeah.
I don't know, Ben. Do you know the answer to
that? To what progressive rock is?
Yeah.
No, I really couldn't. Like I could only list off the bands that have been called progressive rock, and then the bands that sort of hitchhiked on it. Radiohead is accused of being like modern day progressive rock.
Right.
Like
really. So there was another reason why I liked ELO. There's always. So my neighbor, I grew up with these guys. The McGuires were next door to me, John, Matt, and Joe. And they were like my best friends, they're still friends. And they lived right next door, and we were close to their family. And John was like a year older than me in school. And he was just one of those guys that, I kind of looked up to. And like, he had, I think the first 2 albums he bought were like ELO and Supertramp. And I just was like, John listens to it. That's what I should think is cool.
Isn't that crazy how it can shape your whole life, just looking up to someone? For me, it was my friend's older sisters. I thought they were the coolest, and they were all into The Cure and Depeche Mode, and I'm like, it shaped my whole life. That's who I became.
Wow.
I know, so weird.
They're so prolific too, though.
The Cure and Depeche Mode. Thanks,
no,
they're my favorites.
I mean, they probably are, but ELO, man, they had like an insane amount of hits. I didn't even.
Yeah.
I went like on a walk today, and my workout, and I just listened to ELO the whole time, and I was like, man, there's not many bands you can play like 15 songs, and you're like, oh yeah, and if you're not like a big fan, like, oh yeah, I know that song, song.
Yeah, I didn't think that I knew ELO all that well, but when I started going through their hits, I was like, they could play a whole like 22 song concert, and I would know every single song.
That's insane. Yeah, what other band can do that? I mean,
very few.
Yeah, maybe the Rolling Stones.
The Rolling Stones, obviously.
Yeah.
Journey's a good one.
Journey, yeah, I like Journey. I've taken a lot of heat for Journey.
You deserve it. Deserve it.
I know.
I like Journey.
Well, I mean, here's the thing, because especially for my comedian friends, that are, they're like, oh, they're stupid. And then I love it though, because like Henry Phillips, who you guys have had on the podcast, right?
Yeah.
He's a classically trained musician, and knows he's a great musician and knows everything about music theory. Henry's like, no, man, don't listen to those guys. All those guys are making fun of Journey. Hey, ask them if they can sing like Steve Perry.
Yeah, right? Years ago, I was having some conversation about, just really liking Steve Perry's voice in Journey, and Chuck Savage, the guy that does our intro music, was just man, he hates them. And I was just
Does he really?
I was like, explain it to me. And it was, I can't remember the line he used, but something about they were just going against everything they were trying to do in LA during that time with rock music. Like they were just doing the opposite of what, like, I don't know, I guess maybe they were considered posers at the time, but I was like,
right.
I don't know, they're pretty good though.
Yeah, I like it. I think there's this comedian who passed away, Tim Wilson, really one of my favorite comedians, and he's a Georgia guy, and he would tell me, he knew a lot about music, and he would tell me, and he was telling me, I guess when Journey, because I think Steve Perry, he like, Steve Perry left the band. Apparently, he said he didn't feel like he had enough control over the band. And Neil Schoen is Neil Peart, Neil Schoen, I think.
I think it's Neil Schoen. Yeah, Neil Peart is Rush.
Neil Peart is Rush. He goes, Neil Peart says, well, Steve, you write all the songs and you sing all the songs. I'm not sure exactly how much more control you'd rather have over them.
Oh, well, all right. Well, should we get into these lyrics, or do you want to?
Let's do it. And trigger warning, this is going to some dark places. It really is. Okay, here we go.
Ready.
Evil Woman by ELO. Lyrics by Jeff Lynne. You made a fool out of me, but then broken dreams have got to end. Hey, woman, you got the blues because you ain't got no one else to use. So he's right out of the gate, just guns blazing. Like he's after this lady. They're like, she done him wrong.
Yeah.
This is a man scorned song.
Yes. We don't get many of these man scorned songs. We did a whole podcast of like, who's the bad man with ladies being scorned, but Finally, we got a man pouting and wanting revenge.
Usually when a guy writes a heartbroken song, he's writing about how his heart is broken. He doesn't like go straight on the offensive like this. This is, you swap around the pronouns. This could be a Beyonce tune. Like it's that level of how fucking dare you. There's an open road that leads nowhere. So just make some miles between here and there. Hit the road, princess.
Wow, man.
Get out of town.
That's an amazing way to say that.
I mean, it's dark. There's a hole in my head where the rain comes in. You took my body and played to win. So, like, it really is almost like this is a man scorn, but really acting like a woman scorn. Like, that's really the first time I think I've heard a male voice say something like that. Like, you took my body from me and played to win. Like we're men. We're pretty much like, we want to give you our body. That's kind of our thing. We've been pretty famous about how badly we want to do that.
We want to insert you. Yes.
Yes.
Ben, what there's a hole in the head where the rain comes in. Mm-hmm. I think that may be my favorite lyric of the song, and I don't even know what do you think that means, because I love that. I love that song, man.
It comes from it comes from a Beatles song.
Yeah, it's inspired by.
There's a Beatles song called "Fixing the Hole," and that's literally the first lyric to that song is "I'm fixing the hole where the rain comes in, because that's how I make sense of my life," or something along those lines. Wow. Like it's and he acknowledges it. Like it's not like stolen or rumored to be. Like he straight up says, "No, this was inspired by the Beatles. I'm inspired by the Beatles."
Oh, cool.
I took that line from them. Yeah. But then this is where it gets really weird, because the last line in the first verse is literally, "Ha ha, woman, it's a crime."
No, but it's ha ha.
Yeah, ha ha.
They do it 3 times. They do it 3 times, and it's great. I didn't even realize till I read the lyrics that they were saying ha ha, because it's
me either.
It's on beat. It's like ha ha, and then they say something. Yeah.
Ha ha, woman, it's a crime. Shame on you, but you ain't got no one else to blame. So he is like, not only is he kissing her off, sending her on the road, but now he's laughing at her on her way out the door. Yeah. So she either is the most evil woman who's ever existed, or this guy doesn't know when he's lucky. Like, you found a nice lady who did nice things for you, sir.
Oh no. Women do that a lot too. But yeah, it sounds like I've never seen a song where a man's just kind of like rubbing her face in the shit of her own pain. Just like, yeah, like, I don't care. Like, do you get that feeling?
This feels more
I think he dated somebody with I mean, I think she had mental problems.
You think so?
Yeah, I do. I think he dated somebody that was crazy. It's not all her fault, but
I like how we're going to get into this, because I have been trying to figure out, like, what did she do? Did she steal his money? Did she cheat on him? Did she not give him emotional affection? Let's keep going with the lyrics. Let's try to figure out what she did to him.
You know what she did, Diane. She slept with Bowie. They all slept with Bowie.
Yeah, I learned that from your podcast. I didn't know that, man.
That stinker.
Then it's just the chorus and everybody knows. We should all just sing along together. Evil woman. Evil woman. Evil woman.
Evil woman. You got to take it down for the 4th one.
Yeah. I cannot listen to this song without in the radio, on the radio driving, without going. I always do that.
You know what that sounds like? When Wonder Woman would use her bracelets and like. It sounds like that.
Yeah.
Ooh. Now that would be a fun little like rock and roll stunt to write a song about a guy breaking up with Wonder Woman.
Man.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing tonight.
That's a Pink song, probably. There.
Nobody would. Linda Carter is Corbin's all-time pedestal woman of like, oh my God, he loves her. Nobody would leave her.
He's not wrong about that. He's not at all wrong.
She's still, she still like does like little performances.
She's still hot.
Yeah, my friend has this girl that and they see each other, and he took her to like surprised her and took her to this Wonder Woman thing.
Okay. Comic-Con.
It was like in LA, and it was like at something like the Friars Club, but it wasn't that. And you're like, hey, we're going to this performance, and Linda Carter comes out, and I don't know what she does. I think she, I don't know, pretends she has a lasso or something. But you said it made the girls' evening. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That girl and my husband would just live in bliss together.
I know, but you need to talk, see if you can get Corbin to one of these things.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
There's another
rolled
one.
in.
Oh, sorry, man.
No, go ahead.
Well, there's the that's which is like my favorite, my first favorite instrumental thing in this. But there's another one where the violins all go like.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and that one, both those things I love, man.
I think that's
like how
one.
your band geek is coming out.
Yeah.
I was reading. There's another song on this ELO album called Night Rider, and I think that effect that you're talking about comes from that song. Because they're saying,
oh,
like,
really?
Yeah, like Jeff Lynne is like apparently like a super producer. Like he's really good at taking like surprising sound effects and reversing tracks and making strange noises. So I guess what he did is he took the violin instrumental from Night Rider and he just played it backwards. And that's what
really?
you were. Yeah.
Oh,
like,
I gotta
remember
listen to
reading that.
song. Oh, cool, man.
Yeah, if you're, I mean, and I'm not, but if you're like a super music geek, then Jeff Lynne is your guy because he has all these little like Easter eggs and white rabbits sort of hidden in all of his songs because that's what the Beatles used to do. Like, I didn't think it was true. I thought it was a legend, but the Beatles apparently did, like the whole I Buried Paul thing was done deliberately. Like it is actually in there. It's in the mix.
Oh, okay.
It's not hippie bullshit. Apparently it's a true thing. I mean, it's hippie bullshit that Paul is dead, but
right.
they were planting that seed just to see how closely people were listening. Like, can we bury this so deep in the drugs and the mix that they'll miss it? And that's what Jeff Lynne kind of, I guess, made his name on.
You said something that you said produced, which I think I think all prog rock is fairly heavily produced.
Yeah.
Because and again, I don't know much about music, but Yes used to get, which is like a big time prog rock band. It used to get, they're always accused of being overly produced. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Does it show up like they're not good live? Like that's what I feel like happens a lot with those bands.
Yeah, like they faked it in the studio and they can't reproduce it on the concert stage.
Yeah.
Although with the synth, you could do so much live too. Right?
Oh, for sure.
For sure.
Yeah.
But I think obviously that's music history. But I mean, that's why you ended up with punk rock is because there were all these big, like bloated 70s bands. And then all the kids that didn't have access to the studio were just like, it's just me, my 3 friends, thrashing it out. That's what music is.
Yeah.
Back to the
basics.
Into the second verse. Rolled in from another town, hit some gold too hot to settle down, but a fool and his money soon go separate ways, and you found a fool lying in a daze. So now we're adding a layer of self-hatred.
Yeah.
Like he's clearly like he feels like he's been suckered by this woman, that she came in and used him up for all of his money. And then as soon as the money was, or he was in a daze to begin with, she picked him up, used up all of his money. And that's why he's mad.
Okay.
Which is that's never gonna happen to me. Like when it comes, like I was thinking about this with this song. Like I've never had like I can't really relate to this song because I've never had a relationship like this because I'm not a good looking guy. I don't have a lot of money. Like there's nothing, like nobody's ever going to use me for anything. Well, thank you very much. I'm not looking
especially
at my
with what's going on right now. I guarantee there's some Cuban women that would be.
Well, he's already got a feisty Colombian. I don't know what he's talking about.
Oh, South American women are beautiful. Yeah.
Do you want to come up to the mountains with me?
Yeah. So you're saying you never had enough money really for them to take your money, date you for your money?
No, I had a couple of years ago, like 4 or 5 years ago now, I was sitting in a bar at happy hour, as people in their early 30s do. And there was a lady there and I made her laugh. I forget what I said, but I made her laugh. And she like turned to me like weirdly, like she gave me like 100% of her attention, like shoulders squared, knees squared, 100% attention for less than 90 seconds. And she just started like firing off like her dating interview, like all the questions. What kind of car do you drive? Where do you live? Are you renting or do you own it? Ew. What do you do for a living? Like, I mean, she just went like, and I failed every single question. And by the
You
time
don't
she
want
got
that girl. You didn't want that
No,
girl
Do
anyway.
you think that's Jeff Lynne's ex-girlfriend's daughter or something?
very well have been.
Yeah.
Because she wheeled and turned on me, gave me 100% focus, and then just turned back around and wanted just done. Just done. Conversation over.
This is how analytical I am, and how much I play it safe. Is I feel the only thing I'm thinking during this song is, okay, this was like, I think their second hit or something.
Yeah, they said it was their first worldwide hit.
Okay, so even if she got all of his money at this point in time, they had another like 17 hits he could reload with.
That's funny.
She got all the money from Evil Woman and that whatever that first song, which is a really good song that hit. They've got a lot of. He had to have made a lot of money after that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's
I think he's okay.
protective of it after that too.
Yeah. Probably overly protective.
They have to go through that training
now.
they give to NBA players before, like when they start making it big. Like,
oh yeah.
Shut up.
I think he's the guy that they take around to talk to all musicians, and he just plays these lyrics.
Exactly.
And they're like, okay, we got it, man. And then they bring in the guy from Devil Woman and closes out the talk. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. I like how they play a concert to teach these boys with old white prog rock guys.
This is maybe the darkest line in the song. It's another ha woman, what you gonna do? Ha woman, what you gonna do? Oh my God. You destroyed all the virtues that the Lord gave you. Like, oh no, we call that slut shaming now. That is absolutely not.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Go ahead and tweet that out. Go ahead and just no explanation. Just tweet out, you destroyed all the virtues the Lord gave you, evil woman, and see what happens.
Well, it sounds like maybe he was a part of that. Like, he destroyed all those holes too. Like, you know what I mean? It's not like he's innocent here.
He was part of the destruction.
Yes.
Yeah.
The next line is, it's so good that you're feeling pain, but you better get your face on board the very next train. Like it's big time yikes. And this is a fun danceable tune.
That's
like,
what I'm saying. You hear that and you're like still doing this. Get on that train.
I'm always fascinated by the songs that can smuggle like really evil ideas, into like a Sunday brunch, like into the mall or something like that. You hear Evil Woman, they play it at weddings. It's like it's an inoffensive dance club song. That's a horrific line.
Bad wedding song.
But these are like all of the bad ideas that not to get all ultra liberal, but I am ultra liberal. But these are like all the bad ideas of the patriarchy all into one condensed sentence.
Yeah,
you destroyed all the virtues the Lord gave you. Like, oh, I'm sorry. By giving you the sex you wanted, that's how I offended your God.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. It's just like, hey, buddy, you were a part of this.
You were begging for it 4.5 minutes ago, which is 8.5 minutes less than I really needed.
But nope, she's the evil woman. Let's keep going.
She's the evil woman. Evil woman, how you done me wrong, but now you're trying to wail a different song. Ha ha! Funny you broke me up. You made the wine, now you drink the cup. So it's like, yeah, you made your bed, you lie in it. Like whatever pain I'm causing you now is a direct result of all the pain that you caused me then. Like it's dude revenge fucking.
It's very much like kick somebody when they're down type stuff.
Yeah,
for sure. But I mean, I guess I guess there's I think the way that he intends it is that you're just like, I mean, the song's called Evil Woman. So like, obviously you're like he's telling you like, hey, if we take him at his word, this is an evil woman and she deserves everything that he gives her in this song. If we take him at his word. But we're adults and we know enough about how the world really works to sort of read between the lines and go, you're just a dude with a badly bruised ego.
Yeah, you just are butt hurt. Because in these lines, I'm not seeing anything. He's not being very particular about what she did. He like, maybe she took some money. He didn't say that she cheated. Like, it just sounds like she had a good time and maybe left him. And he doesn't like this.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. He's just not specific enough to why she's so evil. Like, I mean, there's no line in here like, you banged my best friend. Like, everyone gets that. Like, yeah, that's bad. That's real bad.
I think she might have.
You think so?
Yeah. I think she might have banged Rupert Holmes because they look very similar.
I was looking at pictures of Jeff Lynne today, and he looks like Walter from The Big Lebowski has dressed up like Hank Williams Jr. to go rob a bank. It's no problem, Donnie. We're gonna blame it all on Hank Jr.
Dude,
I got it all worked out.
What goes on in the 70s? I remember I was born in 77, and I remember my mom was still in high school when I was born. Well, she quit, but anyway, I remember looking at her yearbook and like just the hair, the abundance of hair that everybody had. I mean, I thought Jeff Lynne looked like a dust bunny that I'd swept up from under my couch. It's just so
so much. It's so frizzy and a lot of it, and a lot of facial hair. God, I'm glad I wasn't dating in the 70s. I've never facial hair doesn't work out very well with me, and then my hair just doesn't. It
won't poof like.
No,
you can't be a fro. I just remember looking at her yearbook and I'm like, show me the guys you considered hot. Like, where are they? And she'd show me, and I was like, I don't see it. I don't get it. Ooh, yay. Hold on. We got more lines.
I came running every time you cried. Thought I saw love smiling in your eyes. Ha ha. Very nice to know that you ain't got no place left to go. So he's twisted the knife at the end of it. Like, ha ha. It's very nice to know that you ain't got no place left to go.
And let me tell you something, man. He also does this sort of dishonorable thing of getting everybody to gang up on her, because whenever they say ha ha, the whole band goes ha ha. This is not just his fight with her. He's like, come on, you guys, we all hate her, right?
Right. You know? Except for that one guy.
Yeah, there's probably one guy. If we could just go back to the video, there's one guy during the ha-ha part that sort of like looks down like,
yeah. Just a very guilty looking drummer.
Yeah, I mean, I say, I don't know if I'd call her evil,
Yeah. Does she really have
how I pay the bills, baby?
Yeah, man. But this is the first time in the well, maybe not the first time, but I feel like at the very end, he's just like, I was like so into you and I thought you loved me. And now like, that's where you're like, oh, he got his heart broken. That's what this whole thing is about. He let his guard down.
Out.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I think men have to learn that we should count ourselves lucky when our hearts break. Like, I know it's going to sound like wishy-washy and silly and sentimental, but I really do wish that was more of like the driving through line of songs. Like, instead of having like hateful breakup songs, so there was just a little bit more appreciative. Because I'm kind of lost in I worked myself into a conversational back road here.
I think I know where you're going with this. Yeah, keep going.
Yeah, what I'm trying to say is that it's like it's a thrill to be nominated. Like I mean they do have it. They have that what's the famous song, like, ain't it better to lose in love than to never love at all? Like, I think that's a clearly a much healthier way to look at it than Evil Woman. It's really strange to think, because I think that's a Rod Stewart song originally. Like, Rod Stewart has a healthier sexual outlook than Jeff Lynne.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but it's not just men too. It's everybody. It's men and women. Everybody deserves to get their heart broken and learn from it in a positive, healthy way and not a vengeful, vindictive way.
Probably a mix, I would think. Yeah. I mean, everybody has the vengeful, probably most people have thoughts they shouldn't say out loud. This, unfortunately for musicians, they're out there forever.
Yeah.
That's probably another thing he's saying is like, guys, also, if you do go through a breakout, and I know you're all doing well right now, some of you young bands, and you probably, don't think that you will. But if you do, you just maybe wait 6 months to write the song.
But music would be so boring. I mean, we wouldn't have Alanis Morissette's wonderful, vengeful, screaming song,
Yeah, it's my favorite thing to do now. On Mother's Day, by the way, it's my favorite. I'm going to do it every Mother's Day from now on. I put a picture of Alanis up and I say, Happy Mother's Day. And if you're not a mother, Alanis thinks that you would make an excellent.
That's really funny.
Yeah. I think it's the only thing worthwhile on social media I'll ever do. But
that's really funny.
I'm sticking with it every year for the rest of my life.
I had one, this is so off topic now, but you know how everybody makes fun of Danzig on Mother's Day with mother, and they just post a picture of him. But I tweeted like phone picks up and you hear Danzig going mother, and it's his actual mother like, hey, sweet pea.
What? I'm supposed to call you on Mother's Day, Mom. I was gonna call.
So let's see. I don't have much in my notes about this song except for I got the Beatles thing, and that the big thing is he wrote this song in like 30 minutes. It's his biggest hit.
I saw crazy. That, man.
We're breaking down the lyrics that were just chicken scratched out, like done. Like,
unbelievable.
Which is one of those things you should just trust your instincts and not overthink things. Like sometimes, especially as comedians, we all can write and edit and fine tune and get this perfectly worded joke. And then you remember sometimes you've been on stage and something just came out of the blue and you're like, why can't it all just be like that? Just like first time out, trust your instincts. Which
I'm a little bit superstitious about that.
Very superstitial.
I want to do an interstitial about my superstitials. No, but I think like from a comedian thing, like I do believe there are those sort of I think you get those moments where you just get a gift, like, oh, I see. But I do think like if you do some form of checking in on a writing process daily, those moments are more likely to come up. And that may be, again, superstition or just, I'm not the most spiritual person in the world, but I think if you check in every day and be like, hey, I'm going to write this garbage that's not going anywhere every morning, that you're going to get a few more of those. And I also think on stage, I think I think somebody else has said this, but I really believe it. And now that I look back, like those are going to happen on good shows. And it's more of a technical reason because basically on a hot show, it's always first show Saturday. You're going to tell a joke and they're going to laugh for about 4 seconds longer than they would on Wednesday in front of 10 people. And believe it or not, when you're in a good mood, those 4 seconds are like, if you get enough of those 4-second moments, they're an eternity to create stuff,
Yeah.
Like,
it gives you the time to think.
Yeah, it just gives you a time to be like, hey, I'm playing with the house money here. They're loving me. Now let me throw this other thing out, I think that happens. And I'm not the person.
That's where like your meticulousness pays off. Like you and I lived together for about a year in LA. I was living at your condo, which was like the island of lost boys for a while. I think when I started off, there were like 6 of us living there, and I was renting space underneath the dining room table to sleep.
Yeah. I remember the thing was, it was like Gannett, my old roommate, I'd go back and like I'd be on the road and I'd call in from radio or somebody call in from radio and they'll be like, yeah, I'm in Warren's bed. I'm like, well, come on, man. In my bed? And it, like the joke was I was going to be down at the Improv, and be like, run into some guy that's new in town in LA, some comic, be like, hey man, how you doing? Yeah. Oh, you're out here now. So where are you living? Oh, I'm staying over at Warren's place. I'm Warren. I'm Warren. I'm Warren. Gannett gave me the key. I gave him the $300. I don't know.
So
yeah, that was a good time, man.
Half a dozen dude comics like living in your condo, but like you were the most meticulous. Like, I mean, you're the most successful because you owned the place, but you were the only one who was really working during the day. Like everybody else was just kind of fucking around, smoking a little pot, drinking a bit, going to work or whatever. But like you were there with the notebook all day long. Like you would focus like a laser on the idea that you were working on that day, and you would try it in half a dozen or a dozen permutations all throughout the afternoon. I remember watching you and thinking like, if I did that, if I had that level of discipline, things would probably be a lot different for me.
Well, thank you for saying that. I will clue you on a couple of things. That money for that condo, that was not comedy money. That was Procter & Gamble money. I had worked for 10 years before that. I had money. I cashed out my retirement basically to buy that place.
Right.
Which, by the way, if you do that, there's big penalties.
Yes, there is. I cashed out one of my 401ks to go to New York, and I didn't stay. And I was like, well, there went 10 grand that I just
They definitely penalize you for that. So I worked for 10 years, and allowed me to have some of that time during the day, but it also allowed. Delaying my career for 10 years is also resulted in when I was finally feeling like I was getting good at comedy in my mid 40s, I started looking in the mirror and being like, Jesus Christ, man, this is. I've had this joke where like I remember looking in the mirror and like in my 30s, in the mid 30s, be like, come on, man, you got to drop a couple of pounds here. You got to get some sun, maybe get a new shirt or something, and get a haircut. And then you get in your mid 40s and you look in the mirror and you're like, I really don't have any moves here.
I wish I looked like I was in my mid 30s again.
I'm out of moves here.
That's the insanely unfair part about stand-up. You remember that great joke that Mark Maron used to tell where he'd say, they say it takes 10 years to make an overnight success. But here's the thing. That's the same amount of time it takes to create a bitter failure. And they don't tell you which way it's going to go until the night before.
The night before. The night before.
That's great.
That's so funny. Oh, the night before.
Even that, like it takes so long to get good enough to headline a club. Probably takes 10 years, and not just 10 years from like your first open mic, but really 10 years of solid bookings. Like you're gonna need 20 or 30 weeks a year for 10 years to get to the point where you're really a competent headliner.
Yeah, I mean, I was a slow starter anyways, and I remember Andy telling me, Andy Huggins saying, hey, it doesn't, just because that person like moves faster doesn't mean that they're going to wind up at a place better than you. It's like people just progress at different rates,
Right. And some people have luck on their sides, man. I really get upset with comedians when they get mad at, like, say, a newbie that just skyrockets to fame, where I was just like, you can't do anything about luck. And someone who just, sometimes these guys are just good writers and they know they're good at business. They don't drink and smoke all day under a table. They work hard. They have a good ethic, there's different roads in this game. And also sometimes it's like, careful, they may burn out just as fast as
man. I've seen a few of those. Like just some of the people when I went to Montreal, when I thought, 20 years ago, and I thought that was it was either the beginning.
New Faces was huge.
Yeah, I was a new face, and I remember there was like a couple guys. There was some really good ones, but I remember that are killing it now. But there were some like, this kid has got everything. They have a TV show, and they're not in the business anymore.
Right.
I do think the whole thing about like you can get famous pretty quickly, and for a lot of different reasons, and also some people just have that charisma that belongs on film. But to be like really good at comedy, which doesn't always mean rich or famous, but to be really good at it, I think it takes 20 something years.
It does. It takes that it takes that practice, that being on the stage every night and every weekend somewhere else, learning those lessons. It reminds me of that Doug Stanhope bit where like after one of his shows, this guy come up to him and was like, "Hey man, you're really funny. I hope you make it." And he's like, "I have."
Yeah. Oh,
what more do you want from me? I have.
I get that still. You should do this full time. I did 20 years.
Yeah, I guess people are like, if you're not like, I don't know, Matthew McConaughey level famous, like, what do you want? What's making it to you?
I know. Yeah. Oh, that is. Yeah.
I had like some questions I was going to ask you guys, since it is a man singing this song. Both of you, have you ever had an experience with an evil woman, and what was your method of dealing with her?
Ooh, I think the closest that I've come was that story that I told, that 90 seconds in the bar. Like I don't.
Yeah, that sounds like, yeah.
You dodged a bullet too. She sounded awful. But she also sounded like
dodged me.
Was she 45? Like, last chance you, like, I have to get all this. These are my needs. These are what I want. If you can't meet it, next. Like, it's like she's speed dating with the only guy in the bar that'll talk to her.
Yeah, it was exactly like that. I don't know. Like when I hear songs like this, like I don't have any like anger or ill will towards any of my ex-girlfriends. You know, I wish them well. Like I'm happy for them. It's just not something that exists in me now.
Yeah.
I mean, there were like after, like in the immediate aftermath, there's definitely some like hurt feelings and some, oh, I wish it would work out, and some moroseness, but there's never ever been, it's like, you fucking bitch.
I hope you die in a fire.
Yeah, I have never felt that. It's a weird, whenever I see a guy going through that, it's like, I don't relate. Like I have no idea what you're feeling.
Well, yeah, you've always sort of had, you know, your head on your shoulders, and you know, yeah, that's the mature way to look at it. I certainly don't wish any, unlike you, I don't wish any ill will on anybody that I ever dated. I don't think I've ever dated anybody evil. I think I've dated like somebody manipulative, probably.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
That's kind of a girl thing. I think girls are generally more manipulative than men. We have to be.
I think young women are, and maybe this is me being dude brain, but I think there must be a moment in a young woman's life where she realizes that she has this ability to manipulate. That she's got something that every guy wants, and there's got to be a way that she can turn that into some kind of power for herself.
Right.
And when you know, it's almost like if you give me a sword and I'm, you know, and I don't know how to use it, like I'm going to make some really awkward jumps.
You're going to make some bad cuts.
Yeah, until somebody shows you how to use it, until over time you learn how to use it, then you're not like, so like there probably are women in their early 20s that would
that's
fit
brilliant,
this
man.
woman
The sword thing.
but,
that's really
later on.
That's really insightful. And not to keep coming back to comedy, but that sort of reminds me of like comedians, where these comedians that are getting in trouble for saying something bad on stage, it's like, in order to be any good, there's like a line, and you have to wind up on the wrong side of that line every now and then to know where it even is.
Right.
You have to make those bad sword cuts every now and then to use the sword correctly.
Right.
Just because I haven't done stand-up regularly in a long time, like 15 years. And in those 15 years, obviously there's been the Me Too movement, and there's been scandals involving, you know, big comedians and everything, like, and who can say this and who can say that. And it's always struck me as weird that, like, if you're a comic, you need that line. Like, you need the people who are offended when you go over the line, and you need the people who are trying to put, like the whole thing about being a successful comic to me is knowing where the line is and knowing how far over it you can step and when you have to come back. Like, it's about, Greg, I mean, you've been on the road for years and years and years. Is that anywhere close to correct, or am I just
sure? And I'm pretty tame as far as comedians, and you know, less interesting than a lot of these people that we're talking about. You know, my act is pretty tame, especially now. But even early on, there's stuff out there. You know, and when you and I were coming up, and like, there's stuff in Houston, like, there weren't cell phone cameras all over, and and thank God for it, because there's stuff where if you took a little 5 or 6 second snippet of what I said, it was stupid and terrible. It was just awful. And and it's also, I feel like, especially young, like nobody for the first 10 years should be responsible for what they say on stage.
I know.
There shouldn't be a record of it. It's like when these young guys are like, I'm making a CD. I'm like, hey, you might want to wait a couple years.
Yeah, don't do that yet.
Yeah. Be there. Or don't bring your parents out for the first 10 years. I'm telling you from experience, you're not that good.
I did a show. Oh, sorry. I did a show and my mom and my father-in-law and mother-in-law came. I wasn't even married to Corbin yet. We were still dating, and Roach put them on the stage where I could see their faces on purpose. And I mean, I was just an opener, and I was like, these are the jokes I have, and I can't change them. And I had a joke about snorting coke off a Cheaper by the Dozen 2 DVD cover.
Is that true?
Yeah, no. But it's a half truth. I don't know which DVD cover it was. The joke made it funny to choose Cheaper by
Very funny. Very funny.
It was a long joke about like Jehovah's Witness knocking at my door and finding, like, talking to them and knowing that like they only allow so many people into the kingdom of heaven, and even they're not going to make the cut. So I was like, you're wasting your time knocking on my door. You're not allowed to celebrate your birthday. And last week on my birthday, and I said, anyway, so I had to look right at my mom, kind of laughing and being like, I just told the whole audience she's right there, and like, can you ground a 30-year-old? And she was like, yes. But yeah, I mean, there was just things where I was just like, yeah, don't invite your parents for a while unless you are squeaky clean.
I can imagine. My parents used to sit in the back, but I just totally imagine them crawling under their tables. Like when I think of some of the jokes that I used to do, like I just can't imagine what they must have felt.
Honestly, Ben, I still feel that way with this podcast because my father-in-law and my mom listen religiously, and every time I say something, I'm like, I'm 42. I gotta let it go.
Yeah.
Sorry, Mom. She learned about all the acid I did in high school on this podcast, I think. The one time I did it. Yeah, I realized I asked two of the nicest guys I know if they've ever gotten revenge on an evil woman. And then I was like, no, they haven't. It's why I like these guys. They're nice.
There's no reason to pay it back. Is that Evil Woman? I think we did it. Did we mine this one?
We did. Yeah. Do you have any last words on Evil Woman before we get into our segment?
Or ELO in general?
I think what I was saying is like I'm so excited about how many hits they have and how many really good songs they have.
Yeah.
Don't Bring Me Down and Living Thing is a really, really good song.
I'm really surprised the Patreon voters didn't choose Mr. Blue Sky. I thought it was going to run away with it. I really did. And I put like a one on Facebook, a poll being like, well, this doesn't count because you guys aren't Patreon voters, but what would you choose? And they went away with Mr. Blue Sky.
I'm glad they did. I think Evil Woman's more of an interesting song.
Oh, yeah. I feel like Mr. Blue Sky is what we all want to happen after 2020.
Well, one of the you guys are talking about no, is this a segment where the mispronounced lyrics or whatever?
Yeah, that's what we're gonna do now.
Okay, all right, yeah, because there's a ELO song that I've butchered for years.
Yay! Well, I'll say this one's a real simple one. I've been saving it for this. My friend Allie Jacobs, who she's sent us a misheard song lyric before, so thank you, Allie. Her misheard song lyric was this song, Evil Woman, and a lot of people do this. They think he was saying medieval woman.
Yep.
Which sounds like it would be the theme song for the Renaissance Festival.
That's so medieval woman. Cut to some woman with a giant turkey leg.
What do they call it?
Milking a cow.
Yeah.
Milking a cow, hoping the prince doesn't ride by.
Medieval woman, why dost thou have a camera on me?
Thou hast taken my gold. So what was your ELO butchered song?
Don't Bring Me Down. I don't even know why this lyric is or what it means, but they always go, "Don't bring me down, Gross." It's Groos, and I always thought it was Bruce. Bruce, don't bring me down, Bruce. I thought Bruce was just this bummer guy, but it's Bruce, which I don't even know if Bruce is a guy or whatever. That's just,
what is that?
I don't know.
I'll have to look into that.
Gross. Yeah.
Okay, well, now we are going to do our guilty pleasure songs. Ben, do you have a guilty pleasure song?
I do. My guilty pleasure song is, and again, this is like my guilty pleasure songs these days are songs that I use in certain situations that I'm embarrassed about. And mine is Tears for Fears, Break It Down Again. Years ago, I was dating a woman who like ran triathlons. Like that was her thing. And she would win her age group and like local, she was just crazy fit in the gym all day, every day. And Break It Down Again was her gym theme song. And she told me about that. I thought that's absolutely absurd. But then I listened to it and I'm just like, oh yeah, like Hit Strong Like a Horse. It's like Break It Down Again is a great gym song.
I'll have to re-listen to that.
Ben, I'm going to give you this earworm thing on that song. There is a lyric in there after we're done, go play it, where he says, "Hot tips for the boys." But I swear to God, listen to it 30 times, and every time it sounds like, "I touch little boys." I swear. And this isn't me that heard this. A friend of mine was like, "Listen to this, and what do you hear?" I'm like, "They can't say that. They can't say that." And then I had to look on the internet.
Oh my God.
Hot tips for the boys, but it does not sound like hot tips for the boys. Hot tips for the boys. I go do this and text me because I swear, Dianne, do it. It does not sound like anything but that, man.
Oh, I love when that happens, and then you can never unhear it. Oh, yay.
It sounds exactly like that. They have to almost be saying it. They are saying hot tips for the boys, but it is.
I touch little boys.
It's not even I touch. It goes, touch little boys.
I can't wait.
My friend Matt Behrens, St. Louis, told me that, and I can't ever get it out of my head.
Oh, that's great. A guilty pleasure and a misheard song lyric in one song.
Yeah.
Great. Greg, do you have a guilty pleasure song?
Yeah, as I told you guys, like I would say most people would classify like 98% of the music I listen to as guilty pleasure. Like,
okay.
No substance. But I don't want to sell those guys out. Like I'm not going to sell out all of the yacht rock guys and say it's a guilty pleasure because I'm saying then I would be saying it's not good, and I'm standing behind that it's good.
Okay.
But I will say Joey Scarbury's theme from Greatest American Hero. I like it. I'm sorry. I like it. It's a cheerful song.
Is it a nostalgia thing because you love the show?
I didn't even really like the show. The only thing I know about the show, and I do that thing just like it probably started in high school, but anytime I see somebody with a blonde afro, I call them Greatest American Hero. Because like when we were kids, anytime we saw somebody with red hair, they were Scooby or Shaggy from Scooby-Doo or Rick Astley. Like, if it was a good-looking guy with red hair, it's like, hey, whatever, Rick Astley.
But, I like how you get like ugly or cute redhead.
Yeah. If you're like kind of a little scroungier redhead, you're Shaggy from Scooby-Doo.
Nice.
Or if you have the red fro, you're Ronald McDonald. That was yeah. But yeah, anybody with a blonde fro is very, very rare.
It's Blue Lagoon. I think of Blue Lagoon.
Oh, that guy. Yeah, he's definitely Greatest American Hero guy. Yeah, but it's that song, Believe It or Not, I'm walking on
air. It's a cheerful song.
It is a cheerful song, man.
It makes you, it's like, I call them like anthem-y songs. It makes you just like feel good, like you're about to play a sport or
I just had a random thought, and sorry I didn't get it in during the ELO segment, but I've been sitting on this for a while.
Mm-hmm.
They did write the theme song. They sang and wrote the theme song for Xanadu, which was Olivia Newton-John vehicle, like after Grease, I think, when she was huge, and it was one of the biggest flops in Hollywood history. Xanadu was, and I know there had to be some snarky movie reviewer. Ben, what did that person say about Xanadu?
I don't know.
Xana, don't. There had to be one that said it.
Oh, that's a great setup too.
I know. I was listening to it, and I'm like, Xana, don't. I'm like, I guarantee somebody. Some movie reviewer got there way before I did.
Oh, and that's back in the days when you could just wait for one person to say it. Now it'd just be all over social media and passed around on Instagram as a meme. Yeah. Okay, my turn. Mine, I feel like I hate when I do this, when I do one that I know people haven't heard, but I'm putting it out there because I want people to go listen to it. But it's a cover of 99 Problems, but a bitch ain't a one. And it's by this band or a guy named Hugo. And it's like, if you think of like if the Avett Brothers or Mumford and Son covered it. I don't think there's a banjo in it, but it's got that vibe. But like, if you're having girl problems, I feel bad for you, son. Got 99 problems. How about a bitch ain't a one? And then they just start playing the banjo. It's so great. So look up 99 Problems by Hugo. That's y'all's homework.
Who originally sang that song?
I think it's Jay-Z, right?
It's Jay-Z, yeah.
Yeah.
Jay-Z's got to listen to this new version.
He probably likes it because honestly, you look at it, you're like, oh, they're making fun of it. And then you listen to it, you're like, why is this good? It's really good.
Yeah.
We got to get Jay-Z on the podcast, man. Can you call him up?
I think he'd do it. You guys are great, man. I really enjoyed that episode with Chick and Jess. I thought it was fantastic, man.
Thank you. They're great. They're so easy to work with too. Chick's fun.
Yeah, he's one of the funniest people I know. He's got a real nice voice, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, he does.
So
I couldn't help but ask him about it, like right off the top. I'd never talked to him before. Like 2 minutes into the episode, I was like, "Where did you get those golden pipes, man?"
It's unbelievable. I know. I think like, I belong on the radio. Then I listen to him, and like, "Hey, I'm Greg Warren."
All right. Well, I think we did it, man. Thank you so much for coming on. Do you want to hang out while I read my stuff? Do you want to find out next week's episode?
I do. Yeah.
All right. Next week, our friend and comedian Paul Odo joins us on the show.
Yeah! Awesome. That guy's great, man.
It's going to be fun. We're going to cover Rick Springfield's Jesse's Girl.
No! I can't wait.
So
I think he picked it. I think he's fucking with us. Like I think like he must have like listened to an episode where I'm sitting around being like an egghead dork. Like, well, this is what the speaker means. Like, I see you do that to Jesse's Girl, you freak.
Well, I feel like I call this the Karen episode, calling all Karens, because like women, like, I don't know, maybe 10 years older than me, and maybe Greg, you can tell me, you're about like 9 years older than me. All the women that age loved Rick Springfield. They let posters on the wall, loved him. And those same women still love Paul Odo. So it's just going to be an episode for the Karens.
He's a good looking guy. Now he like builds furniture, you know.
And paints.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Just like, it's just like shredded and and Rick Springfield was in a soap opera for a while, I believe.
Yeah, he was Noah Drake, Dr. Noah Drake on General Hospital, which I always want to say Dr. Drake Ramore from Friends. But
Joey.
So, all right. Special thank you to Chuck Savage and Eddie Hawkins for our amazing intro music, and to Sara Wessling for the Guilty Pleasures vocals. If you would like to support the podcast, you can join our Patreon for $5 a month at patreon.com/rockthecashbar. With that $5, you will get early access to all episodes. You get to hear it before anybody else. You don't have to wait till Thursday. You'll get some cool swag, and you get the opportunity to vote on every other song that we cover. We have a Spotify playlist with all the songs we cover, plus the Guilty Pleasure songs, which is fun. And check out our website, rockthecashbarpodcast.com. Thank you for tuning in, and we will see you guys next Thursday with Paul Odo and Rick Springfield.
Thank you, Greg.
All right, that was a ball, man. I hope that was what you guys were looking for.
Oh,
I had a ball, man.
Wait, we didn't before you came on, we told them about your where the field corn grows. Is it still on man. Amazon?
Yeah, it's on Amazon Prime. Yeah.
Yeah. And you have your own podcast, which is really fun. What's the name of it again? It's like One Up or One
Down.
One Down.
It's One Down. It's the my friend Brendan Ayer and I review the week's New York Times crossword puzzles.
It's amazing.
Review them and try to make jokes about them. And
I'm a huge crossword fan, so I love it.
Oh, you gotta listen, man.
Yeah.
It's, we treat it like we're really it's like the ESPN for crosswords, Sports Center for crosswords. And we really analyze these guys. Like we're starting to get like into the creators, like they're following us a little bit. You know?
Oh, yeah, like that's fun.
People that are like the regular creators of the crossword puzzles. So yeah.
Are you the color commentary, or are you the like stats guy?
Back and forth. I mean, he's better than I am at crossword puzzles, but he's much better than I am. But
I love the idea. I think that's so fun.
Yeah.
All right. Well, check out Where the Field Corn Grows. And Greg Warren, thank you so much. Do you want to say Vogue with us?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Okay.
Vogue.
Bye.